Amazing question. I think this is better than the previous one, to be honest. Okay, right. But in reality, when it comes to cybersecurity, there's this new term called return on mitigation. I'm not too sure if everyone has heard of this, but just as much as you need marketing expenditure, just as much as you need, infrastructure expenditure, cybersecurity is a must because that's like your gate around literally everything you have. Get your hands dirty, do as much certifications as you can. Awareness is key. What you know today is obsolete tomorrow, so keep reading.
Agreed. Very glad to have you in our live podcast booth. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It was a pleasure to be here as well.
To start off, a quick introduction about you and what you do.
Okay, so I am Shabbir Shyam, been working at SAT for the last 16 plus years. We go as a value-added distributor for cybersecurity products in this market, so Sri Lanka, Maldives, a few other regions as well. So I've been working at SAT for the last 16 years since I've done with school, to be honest. So cybersecurity has been a passion all along, and I was glad to join it in the year of 2009 as the industry started booming. So involved in events like this, raising awareness, reaching out to customers, training them on what our tools have to offer. And at the same time, in case our customers do face issues, we have technical teams that get involved. So I've been playing a more technical role.
Amazing. 16 years is just crazy. I think you are the best person to ask these questions as well. As you know, cybersecurity is right now not like a boardroom discussion. It should be beyond that. So, how do you see strategies in cybersecurity moving beyond the boardroom? In your perspective, what would that be?
Okay, so that's a brilliant question. So myself have spoken about this particular thing as a presentation in multiple other events as well. So you're right. It's a boardroom discussion. It's no longer just a budget where someone has to approve it. It has to be approved by the board. And at the same time, the board needs to very much understand why cybersecurity is important, and that's exactly where guys like myself and our team comes into play. So and in reality, just as much as you need marketing expenditure, just as much as you need, infrastructure expenditure, cybersecurity is a must because that's like your gate around literally everything you have. So I believe, yes, it is of course a boardroom discussion, and I have personally been talking that, and I love the fact that now customers have understood that, and it's working.
So I'll just link another question to that. So many of we think that cybersecurity can be a cost rather than an investment, and it can be neglected because it's very costly as well. What's your perspective on that?
So amazing question. I think this is better than the previous one, to be honest. Okay, so in reality, this is something that I'll be presenting in a couple of weeks as well. So everyone talks about return on investment, right? Everything I spend, I need some return on it, right? But in reality, when it comes to cybersecurity, there's this new term called return on mitigation. I'm not too sure if everyone has heard of this, but I believe that is the way you can start convincing your board, because you do not know how much data you have stopped. You do not know how much impacts or attacks that at the end of the day, the cybersecurity tool has stopped you from your brand reputation to whatever, right? Whatever sort of impacts that could happen to you. So there are new methods that have come about. There are vendors, there are guys doing research who have come about with methods of doing calculations to identify, okay, if you take the world, right now, what are the most high severity attacks? What does that cost? Look at that value gather it to Sri Lanka, and then you look at the information you have in your systems. The example, your antiviruses, your IPSs, your SIMs, a lot of stuff that we can gather out of. Use that information, and then you can identify, okay, I have mitigated this much attacks. So the return on mitigation is a better way to do it than return on cost. So I think that's
that's great. If I ask you, with cyber threats evolving with AI and even much more, what would the collaboration be with the government and the public sector, and how important is that collaboration for companies like yours?
Very, very important, I would say. So we do work with most governmental institutions, plus with the CERT and multiple other entities here that are in the space of incident response, in the space of cybersecurity and all of that. So it's very important to us, and we are I personally get involved in the Cloud Security Alliance. There are different communities and alliances from which our objective is to raise awareness, about cybersecurity, and now in this event about AI and all of that. So it's very important, and we're very much in line to make sure that Sri Lanka is up to par. And I love the fact that new acts and regulations are all coming into play. So technologies that our company carries will ideally cover those loopholes. I'm not here to sell products, but in reality, when those are there is when we can also start evolving. Our infrastructures will grow. Our customers will be more satisfied. Eventually, we can probably have even international customers coming in here and investing into our banks and stuff like that. So those will require some sort of standards, regulations, so on and so forth. So it's very important.
Completely agree. Yeah.
It's very important.
And I would also like to give that one advice for the youngsters. I think it could be great if you could share your experience from being a young age in the industry, and also what's that one advice that you could give to the younger generation who wants to step into cybersecurity necessarily.
My advice would be, by all means, use AI. It's fine to use AI, but be very clear what you're doing using the AI for. So it's very important to prompt it correctly. It's not like just Google searches. You need to have conversations with these tools. So I didn't have this when I started in my career, so it was all hands-on. It was literally testing things out. And right now, in industry right now, all the vendors provide trainings. They all provide certifications, online materials, a lot of content to learn from. So there's nothing stopping the youth right now learning it. Honestly speaking, I believe they can probably have the 16 years experience I have in 5 if they do use the information they have right now, because hands-on is very important. It's theory is long gone. I mean, it's important also, but when you do test it out, understand how it works, is when you actually will understand the whole fundamentals of it.
100%.
So get your hands dirty, do as much certifications as you can. Awareness is key. What you know today is obsolete tomorrow, so keep reading.
Agreed. Finally, cybersecurity summits like this done by Sikra and Daily FT, how important is it to the community as well as Sri Lanka?
Very, very important, and that's the sole reason why we are also here. We are also sponsoring for this, because awareness is key to us. And as much as, I mean, one example I can tell you, if no one told us how crazy COVID was, and it didn't go out in the public and everyone didn't speak of it, we would not have been aware of it. We want to make the same thing to do with cybersecurity. So awareness is key, and Sikra doing this is amazing. And I've been involved with Sikra for the other data privacy summit and stuff like that as well. So trying to do this more often and raise more awareness.
Thank you so much, Shabbir, for being here in our podcast.
Love it.
I hope
Thank
to
you.
see you one day in our special podcast as well in the
Sometime
TechTalk360. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.